Welcome back, everybody, to your new favorite sports podcast, Changing the Game. I am your host, Caden. On such short notice today, we have a very special interview with a rising star, an MMA fighter. Please help me welcome Matt Dugan.
Good reversal by Matthew. He's got to keep, he's got to stay in the center. He's got to circle off very free here where Anthony's going to get this takedown. He's got that choke again. That ninja choke in. We may see this hit. He may do out. Switching off to a high guillotine. That's nice finish. Beautiful high guillotine. Wow. That was a Nate Diaz style guillotine.
These leg kicks, man. I'm seeing a lot of guillotines today. A lot of guillotines today. Oh, he got that one in. He got that in. That's it. He better might as well. Let's see how it counts out. Matthew Dugan gets it done and moves to 3 and 100.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on here, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you. And like I said, it was on such short notice, so appreciate your time and coming out here. Today, we just have a couple questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get into it. So what got you into your MMA career? What was your athletic background before starting?
So as a little boy, I've always watched WWE.
Me too.
My favorite wrestler was John Cena. I liked wrestling, so I started wrestling at Philo when I was a little kid, and I played football. I ended up getting out of sports in the 7th grade because my grandmother passed away, and Mom had to move in with my grandpa to take care of him. And I just didn't stick with no sports, but I always stayed athletic. I was always outside running, messing around, playing with friends, wrestling around. What happened to me, what made me want to do MMA is my wife. I'm actually married. I have 3 kids and a wife, and I met her, and she was boxing while we was younger, and that intrigued me a lot into her. So I've always wanted to get into it with her. I found a gym in Adamsville named Sprawling and Brawling, and I had a buddy that's been going there, and he said, "Hey man, come out there and train." I said, "All right." I went out there with him, rolled with him a couple times, and I loved it, and I needed to do it. I wanted to do it for the discipline, the respect, for myself as a man. I know it's fighting, but there's more to it than fighting. It's a chess match. So I guess I've started as a little boy to do this, and I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool experience.
That's awesome. Did you have any influencers that got you into the sport?
My number one favorite fighter is Nate Diaz. I just like the attitude. I like being real. He's real about what he is. He's just like me. I show for who I am, especially when I'm in the ring. I train. I dedicate myself in the gym to work harder than my opponent because I want to be the best of the best.
I know with MMA, it's not just a physical, it's also a mental development going into it. How do you prepare for matches like that?
A lot of MMA fighters will tell you a lot of different things. To me, it's a switch in my brain. I'm a nice, humble guy. I love you. I mean, cool. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover.
Right.
But in the cage is different. So when I pick an opponent, I find who I want. I become weird. I become stalking him. I'm looking up his Facebook. I'm looking up his Instagram, trying to find out what kind of person he really is. Is he a tough guy? Is he a mean guy? Because when I meet him in person, the first time I see him, you can't judge a book by its cover, but it's a lot of intimidation with any man, and any man's scared to fight, brawl. That's our nature. We don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
So you got to keep your mind set. We're in there. It's just like a chess game. We know the same material. He might be just a little bit quicker than me. I got to know the next move, and it's all a mental game. Just stay strong because you got to cut weight also. That's also getting the hard part.
Yeah.
When you turn pro, you get paid to make weight. Then you get paid to win the fight. So there's 2 to it. And right now I'm cutting weight. I walk around 160 pounds. And I weighed this morning at 153, which is perfect. It's a lot of mental. You got to dehydrate yourself. You got to diet. You can't go eat. You can't drink certain stuff. You got to watch pop, watch your carbs. So it's a lot of mental game. And I mean, my 3 years of doing this from when I first started to where I'm at now, like my very first fight, I just jumped into it. I had 4 weeks to start training to fight. And I weighed in at 140 pounds. But I remember I walk around 155 pounds, 160. I just took it too serious, and I was dehydrated. I wasn't fully 100% like I should have been. But you learn from it. It's all a learning game. You learn more from your losses than you do your wins.
Yeah, I could see that. I know after researching you for a little bit, It looks like most of your wins, if not all of them, were submissions. Am I right?
Yep, 4 of my wins are submissions. One of them is unanimous decision. I don't have no jiu-jitsu background. I don't have no high school wrestling background. I've always said once you get hit, you're going to wrestle. That's anybody. You're going to drop and grab his legs.
Yeah.
I fought mostly wrestlers too. So what usually happens is they take me down and they just put their head in my hip, and it's usually the guillotine I like to do. My guillotine's my favorite.
That's awesome. I love watching MMA fights, but the wrestling aspect, I don't think a lot of people understand how difficult that can get, especially if you go later rounds too. So is wrestling more like your style then, or what would your style in fighting be?
Wrestling's not my style, man. There's wrestling, there's jiu-jitsu, there's all kinds of stuff. I train it all, of course. My game plan for the fight is I want to stand. I'm mostly taller than the guys in my weight class. I fight at 145 featherweight, and they're a little shorter. I haven't fought a guy that's really my size yet. That's 5'11". I think the biggest guy I fought was Luke Mercury for my first fight, and he was maybe 5'11", maybe 5'10". And they wrestle me when I'm long. I'm super long. I got like a 72-inch reach, and I got long legs. So I do a lot of kickboxing with boxing. I like to move, run around, but hey, if we got to wrestle, we'll still wrestle because it's always there. We're in mixed martial arts, nothing other than that.
So preparing for a match, if I'm not mistaken, you just took a loss not too recently, but recently enough, right? How do you mentally and physically prepare going into your next fight?
So we'll backtrack a little bit. So I lost my very first MMA fight. When I went in there, I fought, his name's Luke Mercury. He's number 1 in the state of Ohio right now. Maybe not a number 2. And he was 1-0, and I was 0-0. So I agreed to take on him. We went 3 rounds. I had him in the guillotine in the last round, and he slipped out and TKO'd me. And that fight really what made me. Once I got up and walked to my corner, I had blood on my nose. And I went back, and I was disappointed in myself. I was like, man, I just disappointed myself, my kids, my wife. But everybody's telling you congrats. I mean, you walk around, you're seeing people you don't even know telling you high fives and congrats, you did a good job. And the promoters came back there from Cage Thunder and told me congrats. Like, that was a kick-ass fight. And I was like, yeah, because we was the second fight of the night or something. That's the hardest thing is trying to break the waters to get that crowd entertained, man. And that's really what made me start going. So after I won that first fight, I went on a 4-fight winning streak. I ended up going 4-1, and I got nominated for submission of the year, and I think like amateur of the year. I didn't get it, but coming back from that loss is like I went and won a title for Made Men Promotions at 145. I fought a guy out of PA from a really strong gym. He's professional right now fighting, and I think he's 2-1 or 1-1 or something. He has a good, decent professional record. He came in and fought. We fought, and I finished him in the second round by a guillotine. And I told my coaches after the first round, like, I felt his power. I felt how strong he is. I felt how long he is, and I knew I could finish it in the second round, and we did. Then you have about 5 months to defend your title before they technically take it from you. Mm-hmm. So I tried to push it for the longest time to keep my title as long as I wanted to, just so I can get more time in. Because the guy they wanted me to fight was Clinton Ewing, and he ended up having to cancel the fight because he got hurt, and came back. Well, I won the belt, and they offered me him again, so I took a nice camp. I usually like a 6 to 8 week training camp, and I fought him on 4/20 of last year in April, and I lost, but I lost by a simple mistake. There wasn't much time left in the second round. He had my back, and I should have stood up and tried to shake him off because he was high, but I ended up I stood up and slammed him down, and that's what cost me the fight, because when I slammed down, my neck came up and he got under my neck, and I wasn't disappointed in myself a lot because I took a tough fight. I mean, Clinton his record was pretty good. He had probably 9 fights as an MMA fighter, and I needed to fight him to show where I was at.
Yeah.
So after that fight, I ended up taking a year off. I haven't fought since April 20th, and I just needed some time for myself, for my mental. Like I said, I have a family. So I had to focus on my kids, get them in school, get them active, spend some time as a family, find myself again. And that's where I'm at. Beginning of this year, my coach, Mark White, he owns a roofing company, and that's where we used to train in. There's a little roofing company with little mats. And he always told us, like, he always believed in us as a fighters. He always did, and he always still does. He tore down his whole facility and built a brand new facility. We have a nice gym in the back. We got a brand new cage that was just delivered Friday that we set up. We got a boxing ring that's going to be set up hopefully next week. We got bags. I mean, we got plenty of room. And he's talking about expanding. I mean, we're just growing as just little people in Zanesville, Ohio. I'm not even worried about this loss. You know what I mean? Like, I did lose my belt at 145, but I got more coming to me right now. Like, what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for myself to prove that I'm still here. They got me ranked at like 10th in the state of Ohio right now.
That's awesome.
For Cage Thunder, who I'm fighting for on April 12th, they got me ranked at 5th in their ranking. I'm going to get another title. They're going to offer me titles for other promotions and possibly go professional, but we're not in no hurry to go professional because that's another level. We got to take one fight at a time.
Now, you said you're having a fight coming up in April. Where is it going to be at for those watching at home?
It'll be at Akron. It'll be in Akron-Canton area for Cage Thunder 31. I fought for them a couple times, and I promise you guys, it's about the best UFC experience you'll get. They have a nice venue where they do it at. There's drinks, there's food, there's alcohol, of course. There's plenty of seats and tablings. You walk around with people. Great atmosphere. They got TVs sitting around so you can watch the TV just like you was at home watching it because it will be on pay-per-view also. Go check them out on Facebook, Cage Thunder. Go check out OhioCombatSports.com to get your tickets. And if you get your tickets, put my name down. Thank you. I guess the support from buying tickets. And it's in Akron, so I think this will be my 4th or 5th time fighting for Cage Thunder. And they have a champion at 145 named Cody Wilson. Full respect for the guy. He's a really nice guy. Me and him have always been talking, and I'd like to challenge him for the title. We've already talked. I think he has a fight June 7th, so if he wins that fight, I'd like to jump on the June 7th card too and fight again.
A mini call-out right there, right?
Yeah, a little bit. We're talking, not yet. I think he signed a contract, but me and him will get it hopefully soon.
Yeah, we hope to see it too. Me and my editor, Braden, we always watch all the UFC fights, so we'll definitely want to check out yours coming up on April 12th, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yep, so we'll definitely be watching. Before we get too far out of the MMA experience, though, is there anything you really focus on training? I know you got 6 to 8 weeks in training camp. Is there anything that you're like really focused on doing coming up to this upcoming fight?
To be honest with you, man, I push it with all my fighters and all my team. Cardio. If you can't breathe, you can't fight. You can train all you want, punching, boxing, kicking, but if you can't go 3 rounds, I got you beat. It's a make or break kind of sport.
Yep.
And we focus a lot on cardio. I mean, like I said, I started training again in the beginning of the year, and I've done nothing but cardio. We just got the cage Friday, and boss told me, coach told me, you're going to be training a lot of sparring in here from now on. I mean, our cardio's there. Now it's just fight experience.
So you have a current record at 5-3. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So with a 5-3 record, what has been like your toughest fight that you had?
My toughest fight, I'd say probably my first fight, Luke McMurtry. Me and him went 3 rounds, a war. I mean, we was throwing hands. Remember, it was our first fight, my first fight and his second fight, and he ended up winning the 145 championship for Cage Thunder. I think he's 6-2 now, so he's a tough opponent who I fought. But I mean, I fought all kinds of guys. I can't even say just him. Jared Patterson, he submitted me in the first round of Cage Thunder like that, just because his wrestling background. He wrestled at Cambridge, and he's professional now, and I think he's fighting the same night I'm fighting.
Really?
So you'll get to see him. Another loss. Who did I lose to? I lost to Clinton. Clinton was a good. I feel like I was winning the fight. He did get me. He caught me in the second round, but my stand-up was getting him. And I've improved each fight. If you watch my fight from the beginning from now, I'm not the same fighter. Like, just looking at it, I came out my fight with Luke, I was southpaw. Everybody's been trying to get me to fight him again and talk about it. Cage Thunder even had me there after his win and pulled me in the cage. No, after I won, they asked me if he could come in there. We were trying to promote the fight, and he didn't take it. He didn't want it. I mean, but we can still run it back, Luke. You know, it's full respect. That's more of a call-out than Cody, but
That's awesome.
I'd love to have that fight back again because just me and him's a dog.
Hey, you heard it here first on Changing the Game. Let's run it back. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
sir.
Now, obviously, with your 3 losses that you've had, I'm assuming you've definitely learned from everything as well. And even with your wins, you've learned a lot too. So going into this fight, you've learned and you've overcame a lot of things and a lot of obstacles. Is there anything you're like planning on for this fight coming up? Is there like anything you're a little worried about?
I'm worried? No, man. I'm not worried at all. God's on my side. I got my team on my side that believe in me. I believe in myself. This kid I'm coming fighting, his name's Trace Ricketts. He's 3-0. I mean, he's the next rising star. He's 3-0.
Absolutely.
He's coming up. He's nothing to joke about. I mean, I'm not worried about him. I feel like I've seen more in the ring than him. I've fought more experienced guys than him. I've been doing this just a little bit longer than him. He's a jiu-jitsu fighter. But I've watched his film. He does a lot of stand-up. I haven't seen him really shoot, and I promise you, once I hit him a couple times, he's going to shoot. I'm more worried about... Well, if I was worried about one thing, I'm worried about his safety, man, because I'm coming for heads. I'm ready to fight.
That's awesome. What victory stands out to you the most with your 5 impressive wins, I should say?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's probably my title fight, just because I had my whole team there. I won that title. That was our first title we won in this little gym from Zanesville, Ohio. We're nothing. We started from nothing to what we are now. And that was probably one of my favorite win, just because I won a belt from my coaches. You know what I mean? They got to hold it. My kids got to hold it. Like, all my teammates got to hold this belt. It wasn't just me who won that belt, man. They put in the time just like me. If you go down to our gym, too, you can see how I got my belt on the wall. We got pictures of me and a couple of our fighters. It's just a small growth in the big things.
And that's got to be a great moment for you as well, being able to have your kids hold your belt and your family and all that being there.
It was very cool, man. Main men's did me really well. My belt's red, just like my fight color's red and black. They said when I defended my belt, and if I would have won, I would have got a black one. And I mean, it would have just been cool to collect them because they got a red, a white, and a black one. But it's a really good feeling, man. I felt really proud of myself, but it was more of showing my coaches, like, you guys did it too, man. You guys taught me everything in here, and we won a belt together.
So do you have any pre-fight rituals or anything? Because I know a lot of people are very different with everything going into fights. You know, there's some people that do unexpected things or maybe even just unnecessary things. Is there anything that you do different that other people don't?
To be honest with you, man, probably not. I mean, every time right before I make that walk, we do pray. We thank the Lord for everything. I hope He watches over me. He's with me the whole time. That's probably most of what I do. I believe in myself. He believes in me, and my coaches believe in me, and they're walking with me. No matter if I'm not in that cage alone. I mean,
right.
They're with me. Usually on fight night, amateurs got to weigh in the same day. And so I'll have to be up there at noon on Saturday, and I'll weigh in, and we'll do a little interview, we'll do a little photo shoots and stuff. Then we're allowed to go gain weight, get something in our bellies.
Yeah.
So depending where we're fighting at, we either go to a Dave & Buster's or go to a Golden Corral. I, of course, don't pig out. I'll eat something healthy.
Right.
I don't want to go in there all bloated. But then we'll go to a bowling alley as a team. We'll go, Dave & Buster's has like arcades. We'll do something as a team. We're always trying to surround each other with good energy. We're not out running around, nothing. We're mostly just chilling together, talking about it, relaxing together, trying to soak up the moment. But yeah.
So we talked about a little bit of the mental, but I want to get into a little bit of a more physical aspect of it. Cutting weight is definitely a challenge for everybody who fights in MMA. What's like the hardest part about cutting weight for you, and how would you handle it?
The hardest part is, man, coming home after practice and wanting. I like sweets sometimes, especially when I'm cutting weight and I'm not allowed to have a honey bun, man.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, is coming home, just laying in bed, and you're like, belly's growling. You're like, dude, a honey bun sounds real good, or some ice cream sounds real good. But I'll tell you, dude, if you know anything about hunting, you don't feed a dog till you get back from the hunting, and he shows you his reward. So I look at it that way too, man. I'll starve myself, and after I win and succeed, now it's time to feast.
So now moving out of like the mental, physical aspect, more like your future goals, I should say. Do you have any aspirations to fight like in a UFC or a Bellator or anything like that?
100%, man. I mean, I'm not doing this just for funs and giggles and stuff, man. I'm doing this to make money. You know what I mean? Like, when I turn professional, I'm legally allowed to be paid. As an amateur, not allowed to be paid to fight. And that's my goal, man, is to get on UFC, to let you guys see. Imagine if I was on the UFC, like, where are you guys going to be at next? We're going to have to do another episode. So
Right.
I got so many people I want to take with me, not necessarily my team, just everybody. You guys are giving me this spotlight now to hopefully somebody, maybe Dana White will see this one day and want to fight and sign a bonus. You never know.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you. I think your future is really bright. Everything that you're doing for the sport is really awesome. Like I said earlier, you look like a submission machine, so I would be careful for what you wish for when you get in the ring with him, man. It's awesome. Now, speaking about future goals, if there's anyone past or present, who's a dream opponent for you?
That's a good one. You know what, man? I'd love to fight. I'd like to fight McGregor, dude. If I could fight Conor McGregor, share the spotlight with him. I'd like to see him across from me, just to see how he moves. He's a very technical fighter, and that's how I like to be. I like to be a technical. I like to set up my stuff, set up my counters, and pick my punches instead of just going out there to fight, man. I'm not going out there trying to get knocked out, nothing. I want to go out there to make it look good.
That's awesome. I'm a big Conor McGregor fan, so I would love to see it happen. Hopefully one day, maybe you get that spotlight.
Hey, maybe we're training with him one day. You know what I mean?
Hey, you never know.
No.
The sky's the limit for you, man.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know you said you have a wife and kids, right? So what are some of the hobbies you do outside of doing MMA?
Like I said, I got kids, so we're always at the park. We're out running. We're going hiking. They're old enough now to ride bikes. So we're riding bikes with them. This summer's going to be coming up. We do a lot of swimming. My kids are everything to me, man. What I do as a man every day will show them who I can be and what they could be. If I don't quit on my dream, they won't ever quit on theirs. And I'll prove that to them day by day. I like to hunt. I like to fish. I really like cars. I'm a mechanic. You got something broke, let's work on it. I'm a do it anything kind of man. I'm not really much of a gamer, a video gamer. I like to go outside, enjoy the environment, and have fun with friends.
That's pretty cool. I'm a big video game person myself, so that's a little unrelatable for me. But I know you said you have kids. How do you, when you go to MMA, how do you tell your kids that you're having a fight? Like, how do you prepare them?
So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. This fight camp, my kids haven't been to any of my practices, but the 2 years before then, they were every practice with me. You know what I mean? It's a commitment. It's a dedication. I hate going to practice without them just because I want them to see me succeed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they were going to practice me every day, so they're seeing us punch. They're seeing us throw gloves on. They want to do the same thing. They're boys. They want to wrestle.
All three boys?
I got 2 boys and 1 little girl. And
That's
she's
awesome.
going to be a killer too. She's 2. She'll be coming. But back to my boys. They wrestle and they fight with me too. They know what's going on. They've been to every fight of mine. They sit there beside their mom with the rest of the team, and they cheer me on. If they watch my fights, if I'm watching a video of my opponent, they're asking me if that's me. They know. I got buddies that's kids that's in it too, and they watch our fights. It's very inspiring because I got a lot of young kids that come to my gym that want to train with me, 17, 18-year-olds that look at me like I'm, you know what I mean? Like I'm Conor McGregor. They think I'm some
big name.
Yeah, some amazing MMA fighter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I started where they're starting. You know what I mean? Anybody, if you dedicate and believe in yourself, you can be that. I truly believe in that. Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. That's a good thing to say as well. Not just for you, but for anyone that wants to get into the sport of MMA or someone who's been already working in MMA. It's just a good mindset to have.
100%, man. You determine what happens in your life. Nobody can push you to go harder. Nobody can make you do harder but yourself. And you don't quit on yourself, you won't ever stop. I promise.
So this is the segment now where I'm going to start asking just some fun questions, fan engagement questions. Say, what's the craziest fan interaction you've had?
Craziest? Probably this little kid, man. I just maybe 3-0. Maybe my third fight, not 3-0. But I was just standing in line getting a corn dog or something, and he comes up to me with his phone. I mean, he was 6, 7 years old. He's, "Can I get a picture with you?" And I was like, "What?" And he's, "Yeah, you just fought, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's, "I just want a picture with you." And I mean, made me feel good. I felt like a celebrity, you know what I mean?
Right. That's got to feel good.
It did. It felt cool.
If you had to pick a dream fight entrance song, what would your song be?
Mostly what I walk out to is California Love by Tupac. I just love that song. I want to go to California. I want to live out California Love. And yeah, California Love, bro. That's probably what I'll stick with for a while.
And that's one you've constantly used, right?
Yeah, mostly at Cage Thunder. When I fought at Made Men for my title, I used The Champion by The Score. And that song just made me believe I was going to be the champion. And I think my second fight, I might have walked out with, when I defended my title, I walked out with that too. But most of my fights at Cage Thunder has been California Love.
That's so cool. That's so cool. My last question for you is, obviously, I would imagine your team that you work with is all dream people for you, but is there anyone that's outside of your team that would be a dream come true to be in your corner?
Who I could invite to my corner and help me with me?
Yep.
It'd be Nate Diaz, man. I'd love to have that dude right there with me, smoking a joint, chilling out. You know how he is, bad dude. That or Nick Diaz. I like the DS brothers period because they want to stand and bang. They're ready to fight. And
Yeah.
if they go to the ground, they're black belts in jiu-jitsu. So
The
they're
Diaz
all-
brothers are crazy.
they're animals, man. There's so many fighters I'd love to have. If I could, I'd love to go train at America Top Team too. Dustin Poirier and Jorge Masvidal. You know what I mean?
Hey, Matt. Well, thank you for joining us today on our podcast. And I just had one quick question for you. What would be your guilty pleasure when you are either cutting weight or after you finished a fight?
Probably the food I'll go to is probably going to be a sweets, man. Like I said, I wanted like honey buns, brownies, muffins. But I'll tell you a story real quick while we're on that topic. So I fought at Hollywood Casino up in Columbus, and they have all kind of food places in there. And I wasn't allowed to eat, but they had a Wahlburgers in there, man. Wahlburgers hamburger. So I went and looked at it, and it had like avocado or something on it. And I ate one before I fought. So I was a little bloated, but I still won that fight. After I won that fight, I ended up getting 2-3 more of them. They were $12, $13 a burger. But best burger in the world. Any kind of foods when I go to. And after a weight cut also, right as soon as I weigh in, I always take me a jar of peanut butter. I take me a thing of Pedialyte and some crackers because I need something in my body right now. I need to start hydrating really fast. It's not necessarily eating a lot of food. It's eating the right food. And peanut butter crackers, Powerade, an apple, a banana for cramping and potassium. Then after that, we go dig in at the Golden Corral.
Appreciate it, Braden, for the question and a great response from Matt. Now, at this time, we have another question from our producer, Dennis.
Hi, Matt, and thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. It's a great honor to have you here. I have a question for you. You mentioned your faith a little bit, but how has faith inspired your fighting journey? How has faith impacted your sport? Thank you.
Faith has impacted me with fighting just because I believe in God. I believe God walks with me, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm a soldier of God. I just started going to a church with Freedom City, and I'm trying to find out how I'll be a soldier with God and how I'm fighting for God. I don't know much about it. I'm a young Christian. I'm a baby Christian, as Dennis would say, and I'm learning as I go. I think that'll start helping with me with my fighting career is faith in God more and believing and getting to knowing God more, getting to know who He is and who Jesus is. The best thing about it is the support that I have because everybody at church, everybody around me is all Christians, and I want to come from a Christian's background.
Well, that was Matt Dugan. Thank you on such short notice for coming out and being on our podcast and talking a little bit about you and introducing yourself to not just your world, but our world as well. So I appreciate your time and everything you've done. But make sure if you want to keep listening to stuff like this to help support us and get everything going. We also encourage you to check out Matt on all of his social media platforms. He has Instagram, which is MattDugan88. He has Facebook, Matt Dugan. He has YouTube. You can check him out. It's Matt Dugan MMA, along with his TikTok page, Matt Dugan MMA. This was Changing the Game. I was your host, Caden. This was Matt Dugan. We are out. Peace.
Thank you.